break out some ID.
That time again.
This is
KZLX, LP, Maryville.
Friday Take is about to start. The opinions on the show are the opinions of the host and the guest on Friday Take alone. These opinions do not represent KZLX, Northwest Missouri State University, or Bearcat Athletics. Enjoy the show. And welcome in to Friday Take on this early Friday morning, 9:03, as Luke Sanders finally rolling in. It's a little cold outside though, Luke, isn't it?
Yeah, the wind's killer. Not a fan. Not a fan of the cold.
As we're also being joined by Grant Hopkins today, who helps with the women's basketball team, as we're talking a little bit about that today, along with the men's basketball team, a little bit of Northwest signing day, and then get into Super Bowl recap, trade deadline, and everything else later on in the show. So we're going to start first with the women's basketball team. And they lost to Emporia State on Wednesday night, but they didn't play poorly, just couldn't quite get enough production besides Jalen Haggard and Tanya Meyer. Grant, you were at the game. What the girls look like there on Wednesday against Emporia?
Came out a little slow. Emporia, as of 2 weeks ago, was the 11th ranked team in the nation. It was like a 14 or 16-point game at one point in the fourth quarter, but our girls didn't give up. They came back. They fought hard. We cut to like 4 points there in the second quarter, so we played really hard. We actually played really well throughout. Emporia is just such a good team. It was just hard to overcome just getting production from two players. And
they year in, year out, Emporia is one of those teams that's always in the contention to hosting the regional and stuff like that. They're a little bit down this year, but they're still really good. And, of course, Northwest women, a lot of youth in that team besides Tanya Meyer, and then probably Mayava, who's a junior. McAndrew's pretty old, but all the other girls are pretty much young on the team. So struggled there, but you said Tanya Meyer, 27 points, 11 rebounds. And Jalen Haggard had 23 points and 4 assists. Those two played really well, shot well from the field. Just not enough from anybody else. Leading scorer for Emporia was Kramer. She had 14. They had 5 girls in double figures. So even scoring from Emporia. But on Saturday they have Washburn. What do you expect out of the Ichabods there? What problems do they present for Northwest?
Yeah, they're really tough. They always are. Really long. They probably average about 5'9", 5 to 5'11" in their guards. Really long. Like play a lot of zone and like pounding in the post really hard. So we just got to make sure to take that stuff away and make sure to execute on offense, and we have a good shot to come out of there with a win.
It looks like they're tied 7th in the league right now with Southwest Baptist and Missouri Southern, so middle of the pack team, but still pretty solid across the board. If you look at the MIAA, you get middle of the pack teams. They're usually still pretty solid. Northwest right now 2 games behind Missouri Western and Lindenwood for that 12 seed, and they do have Lincoln and Lindenwood that last week of the year, plus Pitt State, who's a tough team, and Missouri Southern next week. So 5 games left. They got to come back from 2 games down. It's going to be tough, but with Lindenwood still on the schedule, there's a fighting chance there with that.
Yeah, there is. We just got to come out and play hard every game. Can't take anything for granted. Like Coach Schill said all year, in this league, anything can happen on any given night. No team's just a pushover.
And Northwest, if the other teams come to Northwest and they see 2-12 in conference play, 3-19 overall, and they might take a little bit of night off. Northwest, you got to capitalize on that. If teams do overlook you, you do that. And of course, you got to see the guys play. Of course, there on Wednesday as well versus Emporia State came away with a 55-50 win. Just the Hornets, and Northwest did not shoot well in that game on the men's side, but they came out with the win. Something they did not do when they went down to Kearney and shot poorly. So, what did you see out of the men's game that you saw?
They just kept fighting. The biggest thing was having Pitts back. He's still trying to find his groove after missing that whole week. But, yeah, they played well. They fought hard. The shots weren't falling. They got a lot of open looks. I think they'll be fine in the long run.
Yeah, Emporia, they're struggling a bit this year. But on the road in the MIAA, Emporia State is a really nice arena that I've seen I haven't seen in person, but
one of my favorites.
On Facebook and stuff, I see pictures. I'm like, that's a really nice arena. There's a reason they hold the Kansas State basketball tournament there.
White Auditorium's a really tough place to go in and get a win.
And
either
then,
side.
Yeah, definitely. Even with Emporia at 3-11 in conference play this year, it's tough. They go to Topeka on Saturday, Luke. You got nothing for us on this one. But, of course,
I'm not going to that dumpster fire of a state.
Well, I kind of want to go to watch Northwest play. I mean, it's for the conference title pretty much with Northwest and Washburn both coming in 12-2.
I don't know. I mean, if it wasn't in Kansas, I'd probably be 100% down, but I just can't. I can't get myself to go there.
I understand that. I mean, it's Kansas, and Topeka's not that. How far is Topeka from here?
Oh,
it's
2
not,
hours.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's just over in Kansas, so it feels like it's a 4-hour trip. At least you're not going to Hayes.
Oh, that was awful.
Well, I for sure would not be in
that
attendance
was
to
so
that.
Yeah, Hayes the ways out there in Kansas. But Northwest playing Washburn. They're Saturday. Washburn, of course, their men are led by Brady Skeens. He averages about 14.5 points, about 11 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks a game. Shoots like 75% from the field. Because all he does is layups and dunks, but he's really efficient at doing so. They bought 3 guards on the outside who are all dynamic. So Northwest, they beat them earlier this year down in Kansas City for a non-conference matchup, but this should be it's for all the marbles in the MIAA. If Northwest does lose, they'll fall to the 2 seed in the tournament, so the head-to-head versus UCM. But if Washburn loses, they'll fall to the 3 seed because they lost to UCM earlier this year. Northwest did beat Washburn. What was the final score of that game? It was 86-78. I know, Grant, you'll be able to go to the game. I'm going to try to go to the game. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not because I don't know if anyone wants to go to Kansas with me. That's always the problem with some of this stuff. But what do you think of the game for the guys on Washburn on Saturday?
I think it's going to be an exciting, good game. I expect Coach McCollum to have our guys ready. I know they're pretty fired up. I think they'll be back full strength, too. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But
yeah, because I think Xavier was missed last couple of games, Xavier
Yeah.
Curtis, so it's his foot or ankle or something down there with his right foot. So hopefully he's back because they need his defensive intensity versus all the guards that Washburn puts out there.
Plus, he's the hype guy.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's totally the hype guy, and it's fun to watch Xavier play defense because that's what he's there for, and that's what he does really well. So yeah,
You know you're good at defense when I enjoy watching you play defense. Like,
and Luke's not a defensive guy. Let's be real here. So yeah, that's what Northwest has at 1 o'clock for the women on Saturday and 3 o'clock for the men. So that's what we have there. Follow X106. We'll have X106_sports. We'll have Twitter updates, all that stuff for everything there. Let's go to the Bearcat sports news. The softball team started their season yesterday. They lost to Arkansas Tech in the first game, 11-6. But they came back and beat Central Missouri 12-3. And then baseball got their first win of the year against Ouachita Baptist 2-1. So good job for the baseball. They finally got a win there. They started 0-4. They got a win, so that's good for them. As they're going to be playing, I think tomorrow, against Henderson State on the road down at Arkadelphia. And the softball team is playing today at noon against Harding and at 2 o'clock versus Arkansas Monticello. So that's what they have coming up. Signing day was yesterday. Oh, it was Wednesday, I guess. A few guys from this area that people might know of. 3 8-man guys, actually, with a guy from Rockport and Ryan Dewhurst, 2 guys from Worth County and Drake Kinsella and Devin Jackson. Not every day you see 3 8-man guys go Northwest, so good for those guys. I don't know what else to – not a whole lot to say about this recruiting class. There's a lot of guys. One guy everybody around here probably knows is LaTroy Harper from Penny Hamilton, because everybody saw his Odell Beckham Jr. catch a touchdown for a state championship game a couple years ago, so that was really impressive.
I watched him play his junior year against Putnam County, and it wasn't as good as the state championship game because he's a little bit more on balance, but he still went up one-handed, caught it over the top of the defender. He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, a couple years ago I went and covered a game. They played East Buck when I was working at KQ2, and in 3 straight drives he caught a touchdown, and then he threw a touchdown, and he ran one in the next drive, Wildcat quarterback. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing East Buck can do here because he's just too good. Northwest actually offered him in the spring of his junior year, so they offered him really early to try to get him to come to Northwest, and it works. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid recruit for a D2 school.
Yeah, there was questions if he'd go to an upper level, but he decided to go Northwest. They got him and the receiver out of Blue Springs, Trey Wheaton, both guys that Coach Wright was really surprised that they were able to get to Northwest. Another guy, they have a typo for his actual size, but I just want to mention because he's massive. AJ Size, O-lineman out of Iowa. They list him at 6'4", 300, but Rich Wright said in the press conference he's 6'5", 340.
Oh, my.
He's big,
That's
so
a mauler.
they're going to give him the
big
Joe.
boy.
They're going to give him the Joe Q and mold him to what they want there. But they said he can still move pretty good for someone that size. So we'll see what happens there. So
I mean, if you can say 6'5", 320 and move, woo.
yeah, it's
In D2,
we'll take that. We'll
Run
take
behind
that.
him every play.
you're
Yeah.
just gonna.
He's going to play guard at the next level. So Northwest's going to try to get some extra beef on that O line. So. And, of course, they got a quarterback at a Blue Spring. I don't know what school it is out of Illinois, but he'll be coming over as well. 6'2", 210, and his dad, St. Charles North out of Illinois. His dad played in the NFL and the Arena Football League for a while and
What's
coached
his
in the
name?
Arena Football. Mike Honesi. I can't say names, especially like that. It's the first name on the list. But yeah, yeah. So we had to struggle with that one, but he's dual threat guy. So typical old flashback Northwest quarterback. They all look the same at some point. So, but that's what we're gonna have for this segment. We're gonna take a break, come back, and recap Super Bowl 52, where the Eagles took down the Evil Empire and the New England Patriots. So we'll take a quick break and be back next here on Friday Take. As we are back here on Friday Take, Devin, Albertson, Luke Sanders, and Grant Hopkins, it's time to talk about Super Bowl 52 as the Philadelphia Eagles took down the New England Patriots 41-33. Nick Foles is Super Bowl MVP. That doesn't sound right, but 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, a QBR of 88.6, and a quarterback rating of 106. So he played really well in the Super Bowl as he helped lead the Eagles to a win over the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. What are your guys' thoughts on the game?
I mean, I was just happy that New England finally lost. I wasn't ready for that. I honestly thought that they would. I thought New England would win. I thought it would be a close game. I thought Philly would cover, but Philly's defense was just, I don't know. Their defense played well enough. Like, I know it looked bad, but their defense made enough plays at the end. Like
they made the play.
Yeah.
So.
And Nick Foles was insanely good, which I was not. I mean, like, I saw what he did against Minnesota, so I knew it was possible. But, like, I was just like, Bill Belichick's got 2 weeks. Like, this isn't going to go well.
You didn't expect him to come in and throw 28 for 43 for 373 yards?
No.
Well, another big factor here was Malcolm Butler did not play. He was benched for unknown reasons still, even about a week later. So we'll see. They haven't really come out clean with that. He said it wasn't disciplinary. Bill Belichick said it was disciplinary, but I don't trust anything that's said out of that building at all. So that was a little bit of a factor. I don't know if it's a biggest factor everybody's saying it is, but whenever your backup comes in, then their backup has to play a little bit more, and that's where the issue lies when you have your third and fourth corners playing, and that's where they really struggled.
It could be one of the stupidest decisions in Super Bowl history.
Good job, Bill.
I think it definitely. I mean, you can't. I would say it for sure made an 8-point difference because Malcolm Butler is better than anybody they had on the field.
He played 97% of their snaps in the regular season and over 98% of their defensive snaps in the postseason.
So it's not using versus Nelson Aguilar and Alshon Jeffrey.
You can match him up on Aguilar. Aguilar had started the game off pretty hot. I don't think if Butler's out there that happens.
No, and Gilmore would have been on Jeffrey the whole time.
Yes.
If Butler was out there. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so that's definitely a questionable coaching decision. Not sure what happened behind the scenes there. I heard one conspiracy theory that Robert Kraft said he liked Malcolm Butler a lot, so Bill Belichick said, well, you made me trade Jimmy G, so I'm sitting him, which I think that's really petty. That's more of like an NBA petty thing than NFL thing, but who knows what happened behind closed doors there in New England with that case. On the other side of the ball, the Patriots, Tom Brady did throw for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns, had guys running wide open through the secondary. So Philly's defensive backfield did not play great in that game.
Yeah, if they're lucky their defensive line played as well as they did, or Tom Brady would have probably thrown for like 580 yards.
He should have thrown for 650 in the first place. I mean, if you look at some of the throws that he missed, even some of his completions were just bad throws. The guys were just not covered at all. It was Philip Gaines was in the secondary for Philly.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
This is my personal opinion, but I thought Brady kind of looked old during the game at points, especially there towards the end whenever they were down 8 or whatever it was, and he was trying to move around and make those plays and couldn't throw it 15 yards. I thought in points in the game, just random points, he looked pretty old out there to me.
He wasn't his normal consistent self. Mm-hmm. And you saw it in the first half. I tweeted out during the games, and I was saying, everyone's probably like, that's a duck. Like, that's quack, quack. I mean, this is not good right now. I know he still ended up with a good stat line in the end. He made some nice throws in the second half, but even in the first half, across the middle to Gronk, if you just throw it out in front of him as a touchdown easily, he threw it 2 yards behind him and almost got picked. There were just little things. I don't think Brady played as well as everybody in the national media is hyping up to be because they're looking at the box score. Like, he should have thrown for more yards because Philly secondary did not play well, at all. Even the Hogan touchdown was a nice pass, but he was still wide open because the corner got completely turned around.
Yeah, I can see that point, but also their D-line played really well, and he was under pressure most of the game. Like, he was making throws from his back foot, getting hit, things like that. I just think First of all, at any point in time when you say my quarterback didn't have a good game, he throws for or had an off game, throws for 505 yards.
Yeah.
Like that just shows how good Tom Brady really is. That we can critique a game where he threw for 505 yards. Like I don't know if anybody's ever critiqued a game where somebody threw for 500 yards.
That's fair. I mean, that's definitely reasonable there. I just want to balance out some of the stuff that everybody in the national media says.
You just want to hate on the Patriots.
I mean, that's probably fair as well. As I'm trying to get back to my tweet from Sunday, but Tom Brady still led them to enough points to get a win there. The defense did let him down. I mean, you can't let 41 points to Nick Foles and expect to win a game, but the Patriots' defense is woefully undermanned, especially when you take out Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. I'm really confused on the whole Josh McDaniels thing, too.
Yes.
Because why would you want to be the coach of New England after Tom Brady leaves?
Or why would you want to be the guy who follows up
You wanna
arguably the greatest coach in NFL history?
You don't want to
and
follow
Bill
the
Belichick?
legend. You want to follow the guy who followed the legend.
Yes.
Because that way when he fails, you come in, you help bring it back up, and you look really smart compared
It's
to the guy who failed.
It's like, I'm going to use the Denver Broncos, for example. Mike Shanahan, a legend, especially in Denver. Some people consider him a legend in the NFL.
Yeah.
McDaniels came in, followed him, and wasn't terrible his first year, but was down compared to what they were used to. So he was ran out of town. And then they brought in John Fox after that, who
Stabilized.
obviously he stabilized, and obviously they got Peyton Manning, which helped. But
Yeah.
he was the guy who followed Josh McDaniels, so he's seen as a lot higher, especially in the Denver market, than he was.
You don't want to be the guy who follows Bear Bryant or Nick Saban in
Yeah.
Alabama. You don't want to be that guy because there's no way you can live up to those expectations. So
The thing that I've heard a lot is that Bill Belichick was obviously under Parcells, and like Parcells taught Bill Belichick everything he does about running an organization. Like the last year, Bill came back after he got hired by the Jets, went to the Jets for a day, and then came back. And Bill just opened everything up to him and like showed him everything he did. And a lot of people think that that's what Belichick's doing with McDaniels here, and he's going to show him exactly how he runs the Patriots and everything. Which, you know, that might be worth going for a
if
year.
that's the case, that's fine. But one thing I don't like about it is you told other guys, you were hiring guys to your staff in Indianapolis, and then you backed out.
Yeah.
That is just that's not right.
That's not okay by McDaniels.
Sometimes a handshake has to actually mean something, especially in the professional world.
But the fact that the Colts are keeping those people, regardless of who they hire next, just shows how much of like a dumpster fire that
Well,
organization
I like
is.
Ballard, their GM. Irsay's another story. He's hyped up on something all the time. So, but I like Chris Ballard. I think he's going to do a fine job if Irsay lets him do his job, which that might have been part of it. Is McDaniel was also like, after thinking about it, like, do I really want to work for Jim Irsay? He's kind of crazy.
Yeah, plus the conspiracy theory of Andrew Luck's shoulder isn't good.
That's
and
also a
all that
question.
stuff.
Speaking of quarterbacks, though, I did have a tweet on Super Bowl Sunday of a poll. I got 51 votes. And I was really surprised I actually got any votes that voted for me. But I asked, could I beat Brady in a foot race? I actually got 27% of the votes said yes, 31 said no, and then 42% said this is a sad poll.
Yeah.
So, and of course Luke commented and said B and C. So
That's true.
that's fair. Which one did you actually vote for?
B.
That's fair.
Because I knew everyone was going to vote for this as a sad poll, so I wanted to make sure that the no's outweighed the yeses.
That's definitely fair. I was just happy I got 27% of the vote. So
I'm pretty sure those were just pity votes, Devin.
that's fair. Or just
I don't know.
or people like saw Tom Brady try to catch that pass. And were
Yeah,
like, that's just really
that
unathletic.
was bad.
Yeah, that
That was bad.
I think that pretty much ends the greatest athlete of all time conversation.
Yes.
It's like, Tom, no. I think Belichick was like, I know that if he gets out in space, he's gonna drop this ball, and I'm gonna ruin his legacy. So
My biggest question is, what would he have actually done if he did catch it? Does he
Gained
just-
5 more yards and fall down.
he would have ran out of bounds.
I would-
He had a lot of
yeah.
space in front of him, but everyone else is really fast in that field. He's not.
Malcolm Jenkins was closing fast.
And
I mean, Fletcher Cox from the other sideline is going to catch him about
in
5
the
yards.
open field, Malcolm Jenkins is just gonna try to lay.
You mean like Brandon Cooks?
Oh,
Yeah, that was-
He's
Yeah.
a dead man.
yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, there was some not okay tweets after that.
I was hoping that he was actually
The
okay.
Fortnite
'cause-
one.
the Fortnite
was
was
worst.
bad.
yeah, it's not some good things in there. Twitter's always undefeated when it comes to some of that stuff. So I said he was dead, then I was hoping he was actually okay because I didn't really want to predict that. That'd been a bad prediction there. So that was also a clean hit. So anybody who says it was a dirty hit,
Oh, no, I'm not
that's
saying it was a
definitely
dirty hit. It
I know,
was
just anybody out there who thinks it's a dirty hit is an idiot. So, what do you guys think about the halftime Super Bowl halftime show commercials?
Yeah,
It was all right.
Halftime shows are like they are every year. You can't hear the singer because they don't put the audio right on your TV. So it's like I can't hear it. Or you're at a party, you can't hear it anyways. So you're like.
I mean, I could hear it for the most part. I thought it was solid. It's not. First of all,
I'm not in elementary, junior high, where that's where I want to focus on.
Flashback.
But also, you can't say you have a guest appearance and then it just be a
Prince
video
hologram.
of Prince.
Yeah.
You gotta have Janet Jackson. That's what everybody was hoping for.
For multiple reasons.
Well, obviously that wasn't gonna happen again, but like, I just thought that would have been interesting.
It'd been funny if it happened
Pretty
again.
sure she's been blacklisted from Super Bowl performances.
You know that if she didn't come in with JT, that she for sure is.
It's definitely, yeah. And the commercials were okay. They're probably funnier if we didn't hype them up so much. I think we put our expectations too high for it.
I like the Bud Light Dilly Dilly ones again, but they released them a week.
Yeah, half of them were
before,
released early.
so
Yeah. Like I saw
The Alexa one was so funny.
That was good. Gordon Ramsay was great.
Oh yeah, that one.
Gordon Ramsay was great.
Grilled cheese, it's in the name. You idiot.
Of course, the Eli Manning Odell Beckham Jr. with the
That was pretty funny.
dancing one. That was pretty good because Eli Manning's really
Shows
awkward.
you how unathletic and awkward Eli Manning was.
It also shows you that the Giants had way too much free time this offseason.
Definitely fair. When the Australia commercial for the Dundee, and then it's like, oh, this is just Australia. We're not actually doing a movie. That was good. So there was still a couple good commercials in there.
All the Tide ads were solid.
The first one was like, so is every commercial a Tide ad? And it just kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. Like,
Pretty
keep
much,
looking.
yeah.
The rap battle between Dinklage and Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
Which
Oh,
that was
that was
also
pretty
released
good.
early, but that was still pretty
That
good.
was good.
So there was some couple good commercials this year. So
I didn't watch any of these early releases, and I'm glad.
I watched a couple, but
I was just rolling through Twitter. I'm like, oh, what's this?
I
I'm
did
like,
like. I also
great.
did like the Bud Knight, and he's like, somebody likes attention.
Oh, you would be the Bud Knight, just so everybody knows. That
Yeah.
would be you.
No, not really. Maybe. A little.
Yeah, just a little bit. So anything else about the Super Bowl? Gronk had a nice game, 9 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns.
how about Gronk saying he's not sure about his future after the game?
Because he's been injured
I
for the last
know.
like 5 years, and it's like, do I want to keep playing football and injuring myself, or just go party?
Well, they said Hulk Hogan, Sylvester Stallone, The Rock are trying to get him to go into movie business, which would be very entertaining.
Which Gronk is made for that / WWE. Like, he's that type of character.
Jason Kelsey's made for WWE.
Jason Kelsey's parade thing was really good.
Does he get to slam some beers before he gets on WWE? Because that'd be pretty interesting.
Stone Cold did it, so
Well,
It's a different era. It's a different era.
Like, I heard a clip from him early in the day when he was on, like, Golic and Wingo, and he was all calm, like, it should be a pretty good time. And then he gets to the parade, and he's just
they said he was
way
drunk
out.
by 10 o'clock.
So right when he got off of Golic and Wingo, he just started slamming them back because he's going to have a good time because it's Philadelphia. And I don't know what he was wearing there, but it was, I think I heard a Murmurs costume, something
Yeah.
big in Philly that they do every January 1st to celebrate the new year. They all dress up, and St. Patrick's Day a pre-St. Patrick's Day party pretty much, and they all just go hard because it's Philadelphia. I'm actually still surprised Philly's still standing today, so that's nice to see that they haven't burned that city to the ground yet. So, yeah, I enjoyed the Super Bowl mainly because Philadelphia got the win. There was a couple controversies. First of all, the Zach Ertz catch. I don't even know why people are debating if it's a touchdown or not. The Clemens one is definitely – I can see why people are –
Yeah, I thought that one was for sure incomplete.
The thing with the Zach Ertz thing is they've called that differently all year.
Yep.
I think that that's for sure a catch, and I
do
don't
too.
think it is. I don't think there should be any debate about it. But all year they've called that
And I think
not a
that's
catch.
part of the problem is they were so inconsistent early in the year. We've doubted ourselves what we actually believe is a catch. And like the Clemens one, in the past, like 3 or 4 years ago, it's probably still a catch because they used that indisputable video evidence thing. So it's like if it's on the field touchdown, you can't really tell, you leave it. And this year they did too much of, well, we really can't tell, but we think it's the other way, so we're going to reverse it. They did too much of that, and it muddied the waters a lot, in my
I thought
opinion.
that the Clemens one, you could tell it wasn't a catch.
Yeah, it looked like he was
He bobbles
It wasn't
it.
he was shifting hands. It was coming loose,
Yeah.
and he grabbed it with the other hand. Then he stepped out of bounds. But
Which I also kind
But I
of
was
lean
happy about
on.
it.
I also lean on Mike Pereira for a lot of these things, and he said it should have stood. So I kind of just like stick with him, and he's okay with bashing the NFL and the reffing because he did it quite a bit this season. So I usually trust what he does with most of it. So
That's fair. If he says a catch, it's a catch.
so I usually trust Mike Pereira and some of that stuff, but I can see where the discussion can be made for that one. But Zach Ertz, he took
3 or
3
4
steps, dove into
jumped,
the end zone. So
and then came down.
So that's my thing on everything that goes back and forth. There.
You know the Pittsburgh fans are a little salty.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's
for
pretty
sure.
similar to the Jesse James play.
It's similar, but since Zach Ertz was up, and I know it's kind of a minute difference, but he was up and running compared to falling to the ground, which is the big difference with that. So
yeah, I thought they were going to count it as falling to the ground, though, because it was kind of one motion.
It reminded me
he's
of the
just so
Dez
fast.
catch.
Yeah.
He's just so fast.
It kind of reminded me of the Dez catch. Just like
You
the
see he
steps that
caught
come
it.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
Dez dropped it.
Dez didn't catch it.
They definitely need to look at that rule really, really in depth.
They just need to simplify it, clarify it, and be consistent with it. If you're consistent and we kind of know the criteria, that's fine. Then we can be like, okay, well, this by the rule is this compared to switching it every other game. I don't know, like late in the year, what was it, the Jets and the Patriots at the back of the end zone, the ball.
The
That's a
Safarian
catch.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
That's a catch. Stop it.
That was a touchdown. There wasn't enough evidence to overturn that, or even the first one where he was fumbling it as he was going into the end zone.
Fumbling it looked like he was just trying to switch hands.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like a couple of those things, they just need to clarify it and be just done with it. So just make it simpler in conclusion there. So what else we got on the docket? I think we're going to take a break and come back. We got NBA trade deadline. There was a lot of trades yesterday. Cleveland has a whole new team besides like LeBron and Kyle Korver. I think Jeff Green. So we'll take a quick break and talk about the NBA trade deadline here on Friday Take. And welcome back into Friday Take. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Luke Sanders and Grant Hopkins. We're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline that happened yesterday. And we'll start with the big trades that happened, mainly with the Cavs redoing their entire roster. We'll just go through those real quick. First, they traded Dwayne Wade to the Heat for a protected second-round pick. Made a 3-team trade with the Jazz and Kings. The Jazz got Derrick Rose and Jay Crowder. The Kings got Joe Johnson and Mon Shumpert and a 2020 second-round pick
That was
via
the one they got from the Heat.
Miami. And then the Cavs got Rodney Hood and George Hill. In the final trade, actually the first one they made today, with the Lakers. The Lakers got Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye, a protected first-round pick from Cleveland, not the Brooklyn pick, their actual pick. And then Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. both came to Cleveland. So that was the big trade that all happened around lunchtime yesterday, and everybody was kind of going crazy because the Cavs were checking into their next hotel with like 4 guys. So they finally made all those trades. A lot of moves happening there in the NBA yesterday. I think the Cavs got just younger. Because the biggest knock against the Cavs, they were old and didn't play any defense. Well, now their new guys play a little defense and they're younger. So it helps a little bit there with the Cavs. They're allowing 115 points a game to the Orlando Magic through 4 games. So hopefully they can figure something out on defense and mesh these final 30 games as the regular season.
Yeah, I like the Lakers and Cavs trade for both teams.
Yeah,
Obviously,
win-win.
got Isaiah off of the Cavs, and that just wasn't working. Channing Frye, I think, great guy. Everybody, he was loved by the team, but
You see the video he made afterwards?
Yeah.
He's like, don't shoot 0 for 6, you'll get traded.
He goes, yeah, it was pretty good. But then they got Jordan Clarkson, Mizzou represent. But then they got Larry Nance, both big athletic wing players, and Larry Nance can guard a 1 through 5 if he needs to.
And Clarkson guard a 1 and 2. They got guys, and when they got Rodney Hood and George Hill,
Yeah.
they can switch more. They can have more versatility on defense.
Yeah.
Not as many specialists on this team right now. It's good. So what do you think of the trade there, Luke?
I think that they won most of the trades. I don't know if they won the Lakers trade because the Lakers could end up using that trade to get LeBron James.
The Lakers have enough room next year for 2 max contracts, and I saw if they renounce the rights of Julius Randle this offseason, they'll have room. They could easily make room for 3 max contracts this offseason.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. With the Lakers are trying to make moves. I know they said earlier in the week we're going for 2019, and then make this trade. It's like, no, you're not. You're just lying people to clear some cap space for this summer. Other interesting things here. Also, if the Kings could transfer their guys back about 5 to 10 years, they'd be really good with Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, and Joe Johnson. They would be a really good
Don't forget about Shump.
And Shumpert, yeah. If you put all those guys back about 5-10 years, almost like the Knicks team when they built their roster around Carmelo, Joakim Noah, and all those guys.
The super team?
Yeah, the super team from 2010 playing in 2017. Didn't quite work that way. We can't forget about Luke Babbitt going to Miami, right? That's a big trade.
Yeah.
I wish Jordan was here because he hates Luke Babbitt, and every time Luke Babbitt gets traded, I have to tell him that's a big addition for that team. I mean, I know they got Dwayne Wade, but Luke Babbitt's the real guy there.
I like the D-Wade move on the part of the Cavs because I really think D-Wade's probably going to retire, and you might as well send him where it all started so he can finish out.
It's Wade County. I mean, and I think they did approve that with LeBron and Dwayne Wade, like, hey, is this okay? And I think they needed to just clear out the locker room because LeBron can get very cliquey with certain guys, and if you just hang out with Dwayne Wade, it's just those two guys. There can be a rift in the locker room a bit there, and I think they needed to separate and just revamp the entire atmosphere of that locker room because it was a mess. So Dwayne Wade going back to Miami, I like it. They pretty much got nothing for him because a protected second-round pick is absolutely nothing. So, yeah. Other trades that were kind of...
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I got one thing. I do think that the Cavs, I don't know that they so much won any of these trades. They definitely did not lose any of the trades.
Yeah, that's fair.
They stayed even. But if LeBron leaves, they've given themselves a fighting chance.
That's fair.
Because they've added people like Rodney Hood, George Hill. Like, those guys are solid players.
And three of those guys in Nance, Clarkson, and Hood are all under 25 years old. So they're young guys that can develop a little bit more.
And what they'll probably do, honestly, if LeBron leaves, they'll flip Kevin Love for something.
Yeah.
They'll flip probably Hill for something because he has a bigger salary, and then just start over with completely young guys, which will be good for the organization.
And, of course, they still have that pick from Brooklyn, so that'll help. Even right now it's anywhere from 7 to 9 in the draft, which is still somebody who's decent out of college.
That's
so we'll
about
see.
where Michael Porter Jr. is projected if he decides to go with this injury.
Come back.
I don't know why he would come out because I think that he'll go 1 if he gets a chance to play for a year.
So right now the depth chart for the Cavs at point guard you'll have Hill and Clarkson, shooting guard JR, Rodney Hood, small forward you got LeBron, Culver can play in there, and Osman as well, Jeff Green, Larry Nance Jr., Kevin Love at power forward, and then Tristan Thompson at center. So they have a lot of options when they go to small ball. Less options if they want to play big. So
they just still didn't get that rim protector, but they might get that in the buyout market. Well, they added Kendrick Perkins, so
there we go. Add some beef down low, the Intimidator.
I mean, if you want someone to talk a lot of smack, you got a good person. Yeah. But that's about all he's good for these days.
Yeah, they
dunked on by Blake Griffin.
Their biggest thing was bring him in to keep the locker room intact because he's a no-nonsense guy.
Which is not LeBron's strong suit with that. I'm a LeBron fan, but he is very petty and loves drama. That's his thing. He feeds off that.
I feel like Kendrick Perkins might be driven insane by LeBron. He's like, stop tweeting.
I think they're boys. But
I know, but just their styles are so different.
You can be boys and still hate a dude at times. Happens all the time.
A trade I liked from earlier in the week, it didn't happen yesterday. I like that Pelicans-Bulls trade to get Mirotic. They cleared up a lot of expiring contracts, but then they still have room to sign Boogie Cousins in a front court that contains Boogie Cousins possibly next year. Boogie Cousins, Mirotic, and Anthony Davis could be pretty deadly.
And the Bulls got Amir Osick, Tony Allen, Jameer Nelson, a protected first-round pick in 2018, the rights to swap their 2021 second-round picks. So that's what happened there.
2021 second-round pick.
That's 3 years away from. So that's what's going on there. And also the Pelicans also got a second-round pick in 2018's draft along with Mirotic. So that's what happened. Also, the Pistons Clippers trade happened earlier about a week and a half ago with Blake Griffin, Bryce Johnson, and Willie Reed all going to the Pistons, with the Clippers getting Tobias Harris, Avery Bradley, and Boban, along with a protected first-round pick and a 2019 second-round pick. I like that trade for the Pistons. They're 5-0 with Blake Griffin right now, and he's a decent player in the West. He's like the 4th best player in the East, so they're going to be pretty good with him there because the East is not as good as the West for sure. So the Pistons trying to make the playoffs there and just try to be relevant.
Yeah, they remind me of kind of like a different version of the Pelicans. Like, those two aren't on the Boogie and Anthony Davis level because those are two of the best. Like, that's actually probably the two best bigs in the league is Boogie and Anthony Davis. But, like, Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond are going to beat up on a lot of teams in the East.
They're tied for the 8th seed right now with the 76ers. So,
and I bet they end up in probably the 6th spot. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, right now they're actually 4 games behind the Cavs for the 3 seed. So
wow,
the East is a mess there.
That's one team I thought of too. If they decide to buy out IT, the Pistons, because they're literally one scoring guard away from being extremely relevant in the East.
Yeah, because the East right now between 3 and 9 is a 4-game difference.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of movement can still be made there, which is why the Cavs need to do something so they could get some stops so they can beat some
They
teams.
did a little more than something.
Yeah, they did a lot there.
They have a new roster.
They did play well versus Minnesota in the going away party for a lot of those guys. 140 to 138 overtime win.
Here's my question.
Yes.
How do you not double LeBron?
He's just not a clutch shooter. So
That's
that's why I
stupid.
hear from
Even
Skip
though
Bayless.
his shooting percentage in the last 2 minutes of the game, throughout his career, is almost 75% or something like that.
Don't let the facts skew the argument, okay? Other trades that kind of happened. The Pistons did move Bryce Johnson after they got him to the Grizzlies for James Enos. Just come on,
Boy Bryce out of North Carolina.
The Suns got Alfred Payton from the Magic for a second-round pick.
I like that trade for the Suns.
He plays a little bit of defense, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But no one else on the
He's
Suns
not
does.
a great scorer, but they have Booker and Jackson and
You don't have to score
all
when you
those
got
guys.
Booker.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peyton just plays defense. Him and Tyson Chandler can play defense, and everyone else will just try to score because
Exactly.
they don't play any defense out in Phoenix.
Well, they don't want to win games, so they tell
That's
them
fair.
not to play defense.
That's fair.
You can't tell me Devin Booker's 6'6" and quick and can't guard anyone. Come on now.
He can't. Neither can James Harden. James Harden actually plays better defense as of late than he has earlier in his career, especially early part of Houston. He's actually playing some type of defense now.
Yeah. It's funny because James
That
Harden was
mentality
a very
is-
solid defender for OKC.
Whenever he was a six-man, came in and locked down a guy and give you 10 points a night. Now he's just gone full Russell Westbrook. And
He's playing a little more defense now. That's some Mike D'Antoni defensive philosophy that's pushing him. I'm kidding. Also, one thing I was surprised that didn't happen was the Clippers did not trade Avery Bradley to a contender. What's OKC doing? Why wouldn't you trade for Avery Bradley, who is a better version of Andre Roberson?
I think they tried but just couldn't put that package together because I think the Clippers wanted quite a little bit for him.
Which is fair, but if you're OKC and you can put Avery Bradley in that lineup,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have to guard all five guys. I know Roberson's hurt now, but Avery Bradley is a really good defender as well, and he can actually has a jump shot, which is nice to see in an NBA player. So, but the OKC was playing well. They beat up on Golden State, and they lost to the Lakers last night. So I'm totally confused on what they're really doing.
I almost tweeted out OKC's the real deal, guys, but I decided not to.
Smart, because they lost
Then
to
they go and
106 to 81 to the Lakers.
yeah.
The thing is that I think, in my head, they seem to have the best chance of beating Golden State to me because they can guard KD with Paul George.
Paul George is
as
really
good
good.
as anybody can guard KD.
I mean, Paul George can match up with LeBron and KD because he is that
KD
type of
did
defender.
score
He
32
yeah.
in the game that they played, but he's
Makes it
probably
hard
the
on him.
second best.
Give up 32, score 38.
Yeah,
That's
it's probably the second best matchup in the NBA on KD though.
With Kawhi, probably. So, yeah.
Maybe Giannis, but they don't go
Jimmy
head-to-head a
Butler,
lot.
maybe. I mean, you have
Too
certain-
short.
That's fair. Well,
KD will just shoot over top of him.
he shoots over top of everybody. It doesn't matter.
I know, but
it's over top of LeBron, who's not a small individual.
and then Russell obviously locks down Steph, and he does a pretty solid job. But
Right now,
I just don't think they can sustain the scoring over 7 games to compete.
Right now, I think in the West, I think Golden State does come out, but I think between OKC in the second round and Houston in the conference finals could push them to 6 games.
I think that OKC. How far are they behind the Spurs? Do you know? Do you have?
OKC right now is in the 5 spot. They're 2.5 behind Minnesota for the 4, and they're 4 games behind San Antonio for the 3.
I would not be surprised if they get to the 3 by the end of the year. They're finally starting. I know that they lost to the Lakers, but after you beat the Warriors like that, you're bound to have
Kawhi's
a
going to come back for San Antonio.
Yeah, I think.
And they're still winning 62% of their games without him.
I bet they get the 4, and I think they'd probably rather have the 4 because you would rather see
A young Minnesota team.
You'd rather see a young Minnesota team and then turn around and see the Warriors team before having to play probably the Rockets or the Spurs and not have to. You'd rather see Golden State before having to play those two than
It's a matchup thing.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with I think OKC can match up better with Golden State and play better defense against them, but Houston can shoot shot for shot with them, which could be fun to watch. So the Western Conference playoffs should be more fun, I think, to watch than the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's tough to see Houston because Golden State actually plays team defense, which is surprising from a team full of superstars. And Houston's offense, outside of James Harden, and Chris Paul. Sometimes that escapes my mind, but it's mostly system offense, which is guardable.
That's fair. I mean, Houston is
you just run Ryan Anderson off the line; he's completely irrelevant.
Yes.
Klay Thompson is going to guard James Harden. So, obviously James is probably going to have 25 to 30, but, you can live with James Harden scoring 25 to 30 for the Rockets.
Got to keep Chris Paul to not scoring 25 to 30 as well.
Houston is 2-1 versus Golden State in the regular season. I know it's regular season, but they're still in that.
Yeah, Golden State's
discussion.
not faring well against the good teams in the regular season.
Yeah, they're
1-5, I think, against top 4 teams in the West.
Yeah, so definitely some interesting matchups there against Golden State. I don't think anybody in the East has really a chance in the finals, but I just said it before this year. I still think Cleveland makes the finals just because it's LeBron, and I just don't – until I see him lose in the Eastern Conference in a playoff series. First of all, I have never trusted Toronto, and I will not start trusting Toronto until those two prove they can shoot in the playoffs, because once May hits, or April, whenever the playoffs start, they just
become
can't
irrelevant.
shoot. They shoot 30% from the field and take 20 shots apiece.
Toronto's trying to play old school NBA too with the dominant big guys, and that's just not working.
Personally, I'm
in the
more scared
playoffs.
of Milwaukee than I would be in Toronto in the playoffs, just because for the Cavs at least, because of Giannis, because he can match up with LeBron better than most.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust, like for Boston, before you go, I just don't trust Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the playoffs yet. They're really young to beat a LeBron-led team in the playoffs. That's my thing. I think next year, whenever they get – and they could get Gordon Hayward back this year, but I don't think he'll be as effective as people think he's going to be. And I think next year might be the year that Boston overtakes Cleveland. But this year, I think, even with all the dysfunction that Cleveland's had this year, I think they still win the East.
I think that if they wouldn't have made these trades, that Boston would have won the East. But
I am much more confident today than I was yesterday.
yeah, because they couldn't guard anyone. Like, it doesn't matter if you're like Jason Tatum. Like, if he's gonna hit open shots. It's like when they're guarded that it makes a difference.
You mean you can't allow 125 points to Detroit Pistons?
No.
Or
not even a little bit.
148 to OKC in a 20-point loss.
Regulation, not even overtime.
And you still lose and you score 124 points, you still lose by 24. That's not great.
But I think that I really do think that there's a possibility that the Cats don't win the East. And I've never thought that till this year. Like,
The one thing I could see the East, even if it is the Celtics or the Cavs coming out, is they need to hope and pray that the West just beats up on each other in the playoffs so much.
like injuries.
And, well, that and, I mean, with Golden State, Draymond and KD are going to be suspended by the time they come around with all their technicals. They're 1-2 in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, because Draymond's just Draymond.
Well, you expect that of Draymond at this point.
KD got a tile, so he thinks he's a lot bigger than what he really is.
All of a sudden, yeah.
Too much Draymond rubbed off on KD, and it really makes me upset because I don't like Draymond.
It's so weird. And I don't think it's different than Draymond. It's not the same. Like, it's a different kind of, like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's fake Twitter accounts.
KD KD can't go rant on Twitter under a different name anymore.
KD's the best.
I mean, like, it's not that hard to create another fake account that no one knows about.
You're not wrong there.
Because he obviously did
Just
it for so many years.
Just don't comment on your own tweets.
The only thing to do with Golden State is give the ball to Zaza. Just make him do something.
Well, I was watching that
Zaza's so
OKC
bad.
game, and I don't know who the announcer was, but they're like, yeah, if you're going to beat Golden State, you have to make these young guys and Zaza make the decisions. Because Zaza had, like, 5 turnovers and 3 missed layups and, like
6 minutes of play.
Yeah.
You're like, Steve Kerr, stop playing him. He's terrible.
Like, at least JaVale McGee can go up and get a lob. Like, he's still he's still JaVale McGee, so he's still Shaqtin' a fool every game. But he'll still make some plays where you're like, okay, he's useful for us in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Zaza's never useful. I mean, last year in the finals, he took 2 dribbles, took him 10 seconds. LeBron took a charge because he was standing there forever and just waited for Zaza to get there to take a charge.
If I was the coach of the Warriors, I'd for sure play JaVale McGee way more than Zaza. Zaza would probably have been
Jordan Bell.
cut and traded or all the above. I don't think you could really trade him for anything, so you probably would have to cut him.
I mean, play Damian Jones. I don't know who that is, but he's got to be better than Zaza. Zaza's so bad.
He's bad.
I just don't get how if you're the Warriors, and I realize Zaza's I think he's on a minimum contract.
Yes.
Most
So,
likely.
You know, like, you're saving money there, and you need that because you're paying your stars a lot of money. But, like, you can't tell me you can't get someone better for a minimum contract than Zaza Pachulia.
In that OKC game, he had 4 fouls in 4 possessions.
He's terrible.
1 year, $3.5 million.
Yeah.
It's about $4 million too much.
He should be paying you to play.
Exactly. He should be paying the
He really
Warriors.
should.
Like,
If you
you're
wanna
letting me
see the
start
court,
on
give
the
me some
best team
money.
ever. So yeah, it's great.
He was the starting center for an NBA title team, though.
And a team that won 73 games. So Yeah.
So obviously he's the GOAT.
I wouldn't be surprised if if Bogut gets bought out. Like some people are saying he might. Then go and try to re-sign Bogut.
I don't know if Bogut would go back. I think he was kind of salty the last time that happened.
Yeah, trade him to Dallas. It was bad at the time. And
Dallas
Dallas
is still
tried to
bad.
recreate Golden State with Little Curry, Harrison Barnes, and Bogut.
Did not work.
Did not. Not even a little bit.
Hey, they got Doug McDermott now.
Yeah, they
to
got
throw into that
Doug
mix.
McBuckets. Let's go.
So we've named 4 people on their team, and only one of them plays defense, and he can't score at all.
Also, one thing that was that's interesting is the cash considerations being traded. The Bulls got Noah Vonleh in cash considerations for the Trailblazers for rights to some Russian big man, I believe, or I don't even know, Eastern Europe big man. I'm not going to try to do his name there. So yeah, just call it interesting trades that happened yesterday. Kind of in a fury there. Woj bombs dropping everywhere. So that's always fun to watch Woj do his thing on the trade deadline. So we all think Golden State's gonna have a little more of a somewhat of a difficult road, but they're still gonna get through it. Like it's not. No one's actually gonna pick Golden State to lose in the playoffs, right? Like maybe 6 games OKC, 6 games Houston, and like 4 or 5 versus the East.
6 games OKC. I think Houston will be 5, and
4 or 5 versus Cleveland or Boston or whatever comes out of the East.
if it's Cleveland 5, if it's Boston 4,
Unless Kyrie just goes off for a game.
which he can.
Yeah, definitely possible. Kyrie's looking good right now. In Boston, Boston's kind of struggling a bit as of late, though. Past month and a half, they're like 17-12 or something. They've come back to earth after that really hot start. So I think the wear of the season, plus not having Gordon Hayward's, bring them back a little bit, which is expected because you brought Gordon Hayward in to produce a lot of points for you and be a contributor. You don't have him for a long period of time. It'll bring you down just a bit.
The thing is if Gordon Hayward comes back, I will change my pick to Boston in the East because they're still going to hold teams to like 90. He only has to score they're scoring probably about 100 points a game.
I just don't see him bringing him back this year, especially off of a broken leg.
I don't know if it'd be smart, but
no.
If you think about that injury though, it typically does not take this long to recover. I think they'll play it safe and then let him go because it's a smarter move because this year's close. But next year, if LeBron leaves, you're for sure the favorite.
Yeah.
And even if
Unless
LeBron
he goes to
stays, you're
Philadelphia
probably
or somewhere like that.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening.
Philly,
I think if
Philly.
he leaves, he'll go to the West.
Also, you said with Boston, they're averaging 103 points per game, but that's also the second worst in the East.
Yeah.
Only Miami's scoring less. They're scoring 100 points per game.
But they're only giving up 90, which is insane.
98.8.
Yeah.
Which is really good in the NBA because no one else in the East is allowing less than 101.
But
And
if
the
you
Cavs
had
are allowing a sparkling 110 points per game. They're scoring 109. They're
Yeah,
allowing
they have a
110.
negative 0.7 point differential.
It's not great.
And they're 31-22.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
But if Gordon Hayward comes in and scores 12 points, and then you get up to 100, and obviously it wouldn't just directly add, but you get up to 108, that's a big difference.
You
Even
took
though
the
it doesn't
pressure
sound
off
like it.
of Tatum and Brown to score more in the
Yeah.
playoffs and stuff like that. So, and they also got Greg Monroe off the buyout market, who will help them on offense a bit, score. He's a guy in the post who can score and pass and do nice things down there to help them out offensively, so they can play Horford and Kyrie more together and leave him with the second team.
That helps
more.
a lot against Cleveland, too, because outside of Tristan Thompson, no one in Cleveland can guard the post.
Yep. So,
LeBron is your next best post defender.
Yeah, and LeBron's past the point in his career where he plays defense, so.
consistently, yeah, he shows the flashes where he comes out of nowhere and spots somebody.
Playoff LeBron to play some defense, but
You mean you don't trust Osman to go in the post and guard somebody? Larry Nance Jr., Jeff Green,
That dude's
starting power forward right now.
that dude's like 16
Larry Nance
years
Jr.
old.
is actually pretty solid post defender, which is kind of surprising because he's not all that tall, but he's really athletic.
Yeah, he can get up in transition. You have him and Jeff Green running in transition. That's nice.
Yeah.
Just kind of go to the rim and just throw it to somebody will get it.
They did kind of throw out the shooters thing for LeBron, though, and I wonder if that's going to be problematic because all of the
he likes
guys,
spacing.
the guys that he got can shoot, but they're not great shooters.
Hey, George Hill is an A+ 3-point percentage on 2K. So let's
George
be real.
Hill's solid.
Rodney
Hood's
Hood
solid.
is streaky. He can be
Yeah.
off or on. So
Jordan Clarkson, you don't really want him taking threes.
No.
if J.R. Smith just starts hitting shots, that would be great because that's what he's there for.
Well, you know,
He's still got.
It's
he's still
harder
got
than you
the
think.
sniper.
He's got Kyle Korver, exactly. And LeBron likes to have shooters around. That way he has wide open driving lanes because
yeah.
he should just drive every
So
time.
people off of and it'll be different because you don't have to specifically spot those guys as much as you did the people you traded away.
Yeah.
But they were old and couldn't play defense, so, you know.
That's problematic.
Yeah.
So what are you guys watching this weekend? We'll just go to that. We'll go straight to our last little segment here. I'm going to see if I can go to Topeka, but if not, I'll be listening or at least following the live stats for the basketball games tomorrow. A couple NBA games probably this weekend. There's no football, so that's sad. Sadness ensues. There's got to be some NBA games going on. Yeah, there's Clippers Pistons tonight, so that trade happened.
That actually might be.
And Timberwolves versus the Bulls.
Oh,
that's not great.
That's Jimmy Butler going back, though.
That's fair. And Thibodeau. Thibs.
Yeah.
No one cares.
And
Jimmy
possibly D Rose.
Yeah, if he gets bought out. Tomorrow on ABC, Spurs Warriors.
That'll be a good one.
That's at 7:30. So
that's in Golden State.
Yep. So that'll be interesting to see how the Spurs play on the road.
The regular season NBA is so pointless to me.
Sunday, Cavs Celtics, ABC.
That was supposed to be the Isaiah. That was supposed to be the Isaiah.
And then Paul Pierce controversy, and now the Cavs are like, we'll fix that for you guys. We'll just trade Isaiah away. So will he still get a tribute from?
Would be funny.
Have the Lakers already played in Boston? I think they have.
Yeah, they had.
Will Isaiah get a tribute from the Cavs? I saw all the fake tribute videos.
Yeah, it was him shooting air balls and throwing them, getting blocked, and
not playing any defense because he is Isaiah Thomas and he's 5'8".
Yeah, I wonder how LA is going to use him. I honestly think he should start the 2 for the Lakers.
They're going to start with him, Lonzo. When Lonzo gets back, they're both starting apparently.
Yeah, that's what I thought they should do. Because Lonzo can guard a 2. He's tall enough, big enough.
He didn't need the ball.
2, and Isaiah Thomas can't guard anyone. So
let's go.
But the Lakers also play a lot better team defense than the Cavs do. Like, it's not great, but it's like the Cavs just really don't play any team defense at all. So you can't. Isaiah Thomas has to be hidden a little bit. And Cleveland
like
didn't
he
have
was
the
in
people.
Boston?
Yeah.
And sorry, Tyronn Lue, just not quite the coach that Brad Stevens is.
No.
No, he went to Nebraska. He didn't learn anything.
That's fair.
And Nebraska ball is playing well right now.
Hey, yeah, they're looking to be a tournament team if they don't screw it up.
If Nebraska and Mizzou both get into the tournament, let's go.
Put them and KU all on the same side.
Oh my!
I
saw one prediction where it was Mizzou. They had Mizzou up to the 7, and
7 really.
Yeah, they were predicting them to basically win out, is what I read.
All right.
But I don't really.
I'm down.
They had Michael Porter Jr. coming back though soon, so where they got this information, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on any of this.
Jonte. I'm kidding.
But then they had. It really was what Grant just said though. They had Kansas as the
2,
I think. It might have been the 3.
Well, if they're the 7, then it'd be the 2.
They weren't playing in the second round.
No.
So it was the 3. And then they had Nebraska in the same bracket at like it wasn't the 10, but I think it was the 11. I was like, no.
And in Wichita State, just for good measure, just to throw everybody off.
Yeah, just put everybody from around the area in the same place.
Just throw UMKC.
This was like not even in the Midwest bracket though either. It was in like the South. I'm like, this makes no sense. I'm so confused by your tactics.
Was this Lenardi?
If that was
it was not Lenardi.
Yeah, I don't trust him at all.
If this was actually a thing and they could get those teams in the Midwest at the Sprint Center, could you imagine that place?
Ticket sales go through the roof.
Oh my. Because
it'd be smart for the NCAA, the money grab the NCAA can be.
They don't care about the money. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd be surprised how loyal the Nebraska basketball fans are, even though their team sucks every year.
Nebraska ball.
Yeah.
One final thing before we get off the show here. Jimmy G got paid $27.5 million a year over 5 years.
He's never lost. You got to pay the man.
Exactly. I mean,
it's pretty, for us Denver fans, it's pretty depressing if wanting to make a move on Kirk Cousins. That just drove the price up even more. Yeah, that was about the contract I thought Cousins might get. But
so far, the two highest paid guys this offseason is Alex Smith and Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think that the Kirk Cousins deal will still be in that ballpark because you can't. It's just not reasonable to give him more.
Not give him. People are saying it upped it to 30 to 33 million a year.
Oh, that's a lot.
Then what is Aaron Rodgers? What's Aaron Rodgers going to get then? 45, 50 a year.
It just doesn't make sense because it takes up so much of your cap room.
Thing with 49ers is they have over almost 100 million. Like, it makes sense for them.
Yeah, we got to spend it on somebody.
I was talking more about the Denver.
Yeah, no, Denver. We have
or Green Bay with
we have
Aaron
30
Rodgers.
million right now, and if we sign and we have a lot of holes, obviously. But yeah, Denver's gonna move on from some guys, but if they would go after Cousins, that's gonna take up all their cap.
And then some.
But I do think that Denver's holes are all fixable if they have a quarterback. Like,
It covers up a lot of issues.
but I'm not sure that Kirk's to me like an Alex Smith. Like, he can
They're in the same
keep
tier
your-
of players. Yeah.
Yeah, he can
they're
make
that
your
second-
roster.
They're that second tier guys.
Second to
They're
third
not
tier,
the-
yeah.
If
they're
you have
right
a good
in there.
roster, he can win some games, but he's not going to take your roster to the next level.
Yeah.
Exactly. He'll win you a couple extra games a year, but he's not going to he's not going to turn your franchise around like an elite level quarterback
No.
would. So we'll see what happens there with everybody in the AFC West trying to retool next year. A little bit of a down year for the West, but still got 2 playoff teams. No, they didn't. San Diego didn't get in, or Chargers, wherever they're playing at now. They were
Los
close.
Angeles.
Soccer stadium.
Exactly. They lost out to Buffalo in the playoffs, so that sucks. So yeah, Jimmy G got paid. So that's going to be it for us today on Friday Take. Make sure you check out the weekend sports kickoff from 2 to 5, and also good old wrestling on Sunday from 4 to 6. So we'll talk about WWE and stuff like that. So we're going to sign off today, and we will see you next week here on Friday Take.